Well, we've crossed now to Mlungisi Khumalo for the latest on the situation in Durban. Mlungisi, just give us an update. How are things looking today? Obviously, we can see the rain has subsided, but that devastation I can see from the picture behind you. Talk to us about it.
A very good morning to you, Leanne, as well as the viewers at home. Yes, I can confirm to you that there has been 6 reported and confirmed deaths in the province. But yes, we are also well informed that that number could rise. We are also informed that this morning governments will be counting the cost and roughly estimating the extent of the damage. We are also informed that at around 9 o'clock, the Premier is going to hold a press briefing with the various MECs of the province in order to also review their departments that have been affected. And as you can see behind me, Leanne, that tree over there fell on top of that car as wind speeds were said to have been going up to a speed of 75 kilometers an hour. And yesterday, as you also did confirm, that we had over 95% of rain showers. But with me today, I've got Lennox Mobaso, who is the COGTA spokesperson in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, who will just give us briefly an overview of the extent of the damage. Lennox, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Just give us an overview of the extent of the damage shortly.
Well, the damage is quite extensive, as you can see, with this incident in front of us. We have incidents being reported not only in Durban, but in the areas of the south coast as well, also in some parts of our inland districts of the province. Of course, the epicenter of this incident appears to be Durban and the south coast areas. So you can see that our disaster teams have been hard at work. We have worked throughout the night to ensure that we clear the roads so that people can wake up and go to work. But the impact is still palpable every time you drive around the areas of Montclair, you drive around the areas of Umlazi, Dalton, the south coast, and other areas towards Ngotu.
Just to roughly sum up everything, when I spoke to you yesterday, you said the province is not yet declared a disaster zone. Why is that? Well,
today the team of MECs responsible for disaster management, as directed by the Premier of the province, Premier Mlungisi Khumalo, will be leading relief efforts and conducting assessment, physical assessment of the damage in all the affected areas. They will then also release the interim report. As you have quite correctly said, there is a media briefing that is scheduled for 9 o'clock, which will take place at Prince Msheni Hospital. One of the hospitals that are affected. Will be visiting also King Edward Hospital and communities that are displaced at this point in time. Also involving the mayor of eThekwini, Mayor Zandile Gumede. So upon that assessment, there will then be some thorough work that is done, and it is when the report is submitted before the Premier of the province and the provincial executive that the declaration will be considered based on the facts and figures that are being brought forward and the impact that has been assessed and analyzed.
Just before we go back to the studio, Mr. Lennox Mobaso, we know that this province not so long ago was declared a disaster zone because of the droughts that we had. Now, yesterday we had extensive rain in the province. Will that have a positive impact on a lighter note?
Well, as you will be aware that we are recovering from a severe drought that we have seen in decades. We welcome these rains. Unfortunately, it's the tragedy that they bring along that is making us very sad. But in terms of our drought relief effort, they are welcome because they are addressing one of the serious challenges that we have been battling for the past 3 years. But of course, now we have got to deal with the consequences because of the nature in which they arrive, which was violent storms, which have wreaked havoc in the province. But we are also, as the week goes by, because now we are concentrating on relief efforts and responding to the disaster incident and bringing life back to normalcy. Once that is done, we are also going to give an indication of how much has been the impact of these rains on the drought situation in the province.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lennox Mobaso. Well, as you heard, Leanne and the viewers at home, that's the extent of the damage so far. So later on, Mr. Lennox Mobaso, as well as the Premier and the various MECs, will be crisscrossing the province just to review the extent of the damage. And over back to you in studio.
Thanks very much for the update. Of course, as you heard, we will be crossing back to him to give us more on that story. That's Mlungisi Khumalo, our reporter down in Durban.